I think it's happening. Doodly
Yay!
doo, doodly doo. I just want to make sure that we're doing it properly. I feel like I'm all off. uh, just to make sure
Oh, is
that
it?
we
Yeah, we're live.
are.
It says it right
Yeah,
there.
we're live. Okay,
Hello.
cool. We did it.
Waving the wrong way. Hello. There we
Oh,
go. Now I see
success.
us.
We're doing it. Well, hello, Jen, and hello, folks who are potentially watching live, and then folks who are also watching later. Thank you so much. So we're back. We're doing some virtual writing. We're gonna do some writing prompts, some writing sprints. We've taken your notes, right, Jen? We've listened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of people asked for like a daytime write-in, so we thought we'd give it a try. So let us know if you like this time, if you like this day, and I think we're going to continue doing the Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Central for the rest of June. But let us know. Maybe you like both. Maybe you like daytime and nighttime. Thursdays and Tuesdays.
Tell us your demands. Please tell us.
All your demands, all your thoughts.
All your thoughts. We love them. So, and then I got a couple questions from Facebook groups, which I think is really important to acknowledge. Like, so Jen works with Story Studio, and I also work with the Lincoln Law Training Center and the Kates and Femcom, and some of those happen to be like all female or like non-binary folks. This is for everyone. Just so everybody knows, those are great questions to ask, but this is anybody on the internet who wants to participate in these write-ins can. So great question.
Need the internet.
Yeah.
But other than that,
that's true.
Anything you want to do. Yeah, please tell anybody, even if you have people who are not necessarily writers, but are just creative people or want something fun to do or enjoy this type of thing, who are into like maybe journaling or want to get started, just let them know about it. We just love writing.
So I love that idea too, because I'm sort of dabbling in like doodling, and I have a new sketchbook which like with drawings. Yeah, I'm not going to show you the inside.
No.
No, they're like, all right, I'll show you the tiny doodle because it's very sweet and tiny. But
I love it. Listen, the kitties.
But so they're kitties, yeah. So anyway, you can do whatever you want with this time. So Jen and I have facilitated, curated, created some writing prompts for you. And so we're going to be doing that, but you can take that time to do whatever you want. So Jen, should we get into that? Oh, can you explain what writing prompts are just in case everybody's new?
Absolutely. So we're going to be doing stuff called free write. So we're going to set a timer. The first one's going to be for 5 minutes. And basically the sort of the goal of the exercise is we're going to set the timer for 5 minutes, and then we're all going to write together without stopping. So whether you're typing or pen on the page, just try to empty your brain and just write without stopping. I always try not to flick that. And then,
I like your energy.
I'm like, I'm so excited about these free writes. And so the prompt is just kind of like a story starter, something to get you going, like a sentence or a word or a phrase. You do not have to use it, and you can also use it in any way you want. If you want to use it for a story you're working on or for something completely new, you can make it into fiction or nonfiction or give it to your character or use it for yourself. However you want to interpret it is totally fine. This is for you.
Yes, yeah. And so Jen does more sort of like short stories and creative writing and novels. And I base a lot of like personal essay and stand-up. So you can use that, again, poetry, however you want to use it.
Yeah.
Or
absolutely.
If we give you a prompt, we have themes. So this week's theme is heartbreak. And we have these themes. So if you're writing, but you're like, this is the dumbest.
Like, I have no heartbreak in my story. That's totally fine too.
Totally fine. Okay, so I'm going to be in charge of the timer. Jen's going to be in charge of the prompts.
Yep.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. All right, guys. I'm going to start us off with the first prompt. This is going to be a 5-minute free write. So just 5 minutes will be on the timer. The prompt is, I felt disappointed when, and go.
Timer started.
I felt disappointed when.
is done. Did it. I'm not that much out of practice, but I'm totally like, where are the banners? Where are the pages? So my muscle memories are a little off. So
yeah, it's been a little while since we've been doing this. And I've been trying to do some free writes on my own, but it's like, I always feel like the first one, we've said this before, like the first one kind of, you have to shakes everything out of you. So
yeah,
it can be a little weird.
And I still, because we make, for those of you who might not remember or knows, that we make our own like writing goals. And so I've still been just doing very little, like these tiny writing prompts. So I've been doing those even though we haven't been meeting online. Yeah.
And have you been doing them every day?
Yes, but again, like I have been doing them every day, and not to toot my own horn, because like look how small they are.
No,
I mean, they're like,
but I think it's smart to do
they're
that.
super
Like,
tiny.
you know, you keep it small. I think, you know, you're actually, then you keep doing it every day.
Yeah. Low point of entry stuff. I know I like keep saying that phrase over and over and over, but it's so helpful to then potentially grow. And then like, so for the 5-minute one, what I usually do, Jen, is the same as like I have been doing. I do kind of keep it to the personal essay, and it feels more like a brain dump. Mm-hmm. I'm not like exploring maybe like a creative writing or a different story or character. It was just kind of like bleh for me, which is good. 5 minutes for me is a little scattered, a little frantic, and then I feel like I eventually ease into it by the time we're done.
Yeah, like right. You start to like get the thoughts going, like right when it's
Yeah. How about you? How was your 5 minutes?
Yeah, I did something similar. I think normally I latch on to like a character or whatever. This time it was kind of similar to yours. It was a brain dump. It was sort of more, you know, personal narrative and just like my like answering it for myself as opposed to like a character that I was working on. So that was good. You know, it's interesting thoughts about
I feel like
my own life disappointments.
I know. Well, I feel like too, like the world around us, I feel it does influence obviously what we write about, what we talk about. And I feel I know personally, I've been writing about this before this, but like my own disappointment with like my own education or lack thereof, and like the amount of like unlearning that has to be done with all this like systemic racism and like white supremacy in my own education. And that's what I wrote about. Like it keeps coming out because education was like such an, I identified it, like got out of my small town and like loved to read. I got in trouble for reading in recess. Like education was always sort of my hope. And to have this like disappointment realization that the truth was never really taught to me, I knew, but like in this other broader way.
Yeah,
it was a heavy 5 minutes.
That is a heavy 5 minutes. I think that's something that a lot of people are struggling with. You know, but I think that's part of growing, is that when you're growing, is you discover that there are things that you didn't even know that you needed to know. That, you know, it's not like, oh, there's just stuff that I don't know about, but it's like you didn't even realize that this was something that you needed to be learning about. And, you know, you're going to find that constantly, I think, in life. But this is, I think, what says something about you and about your background in learning is that you're like, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's just start learning. Like, and taking that on yourself, not expecting someone to teach it to you, but expecting yourself to go out and gain the knowledge that you need or that you want.
Yeah, I just think it is interesting that like the word, like, you know, this is why I think I really liked your prompt, your idea of this prompt, is that like heartbreak, disappointment, these other levels, these multitude of feelings happening all at the same time, like being proud of your knowledge, but being disappointed in the system that you grew up in, you know, like they can all happen at the same time, which I think is complex, not only for your own writing, but for your own personal learning and for the characters that you hope to write.
Yeah. Absolutely. Mine was kind of along, you know, those lines too, where it was like disappointed that like this is a conversation that you and I had sort of over the weekend, like disappointed that I didn't turn out a certain way, or that it's, you know, and then it was sort of this idea, a lot of it was like beauty and like beauty standards and stuff like that. And, you know, I was like, I wonder if like everyone falls into this category of like, I feel like I'm just on the edge of beauty, and that's what allows companies to sell you products, is you're like, if I just scooch a little bit this way, then I've got it.
Interesting.
And that's the carrot dangling your entire life. You're like, I just got to do these things, and then I'm there. Then I've reached it. Then I've reached
the great lie.
Beauty, right? Where I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, I think this is some bullshit. I'm like, uh-oh. What does that mean? You know, and so like there's a spectrum, and you're like, because then I'm like, if you just accept that you're all the way down on the spectrum, there's no hope for you whatsoever, then
There's freedom though.
Right. Why try? Why even care? And or if you feel like you've achieved it already, then again, why care? But it's like I bet everyone feels that way. Like, not that they feel like, oh, I'm ugly or I'm beautiful. It's like they feel like I'm just right. I'm almost right there. Like I wonder how many people, if they were really honest with themselves, would think that, like, I'm just right there, and if I just do X, Y, Z, I'm over the hump.
Yeah. I think that this is 100% capitalism, but don't get me started on capitalism.
I agree with you. Girl, these 5-minute truths are out of control today.
I love it. I love it. 5-minute truths.
I know.
Yeah. So should we move on to the next the 10 minutes and see what our brains. Okay. While you let everybody know what that prompt is, I'm just gonna jump over and do the timing.
Perfect. Okay. So once again, everybody, this one's going to be a little bit longer of a prompt. Take it in any direction you'd like to take it. The prompt, and this will be for 10 minutes. The prompt is, your character is writing a breakup letter. What did it say? Your character is writing a breakup letter. What did it say? Feel free to write this in first person, use a character, use yourself, any way you want to do it. You can also write a different type of letter if you prefer.
I love this one. 10 minutes.
Go.
And just as a reminder to everyone, these prompts are also in the description box. So if you're jumping in and you missed it, you can just check out the description box.
10 minutes.
Okay. There we go. We did it.
Nice.
Boom. I even got the 1 minute banner up.
I know.
So.
That's where you know it's fancy.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Alley Cat. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Thanks for stopping by. I've got to remember that we have to look at the comments as well. So thank you, Alley Cat, for reminding me. So I know that some folks, when they do writing prompts, they're doing it on like a computer. So there's like a word count, but you and I are freehanding it, right? And so I got about a page on one of these 5-star notebooks.
Yeah, I did similar. Yeah, I got about like 2 pages. There we go.
Oh,
yep.
Nice. Yeah.
My giant handwriting.
That's great. So did you do, the prompt was your character doing a breakup. Did you find a character that you chose?
Yeah, I used a character I've been working on for a while from a short story, back to some of my Bachelorette girls, who I like to write about. So it was the main, the Bachelorette who was breaking off her engagement.
Gotcha.
Yep, big stuff. So
yeah,
it was really funny because she sort of admits to some really dark stuff in there.
Yeah,
to be like, you think you did something so bad, you know, I put poison in somebody's drink. Like, it's dark.
Oh, gotcha. So a bit of confessions, eh?
Yeah.
Do you think that this is something like letter writing, or is it something you'll use more as sort of backstory to like enrich the character, or do you think it will actually potentially show up in the novel or the short story itself?
It's probably backstory, but I don't know. You know, I just kind of keep all this stuff and just kind of throw it. Usually, I type it into the piece and just kind of throw it in an area, and then you just kind of never know what I'm going to pull out of it. But I do tend to get a lot of my really good stuff from free writes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like either it's like an idea or a starting point or something.
Do you then, just in case people are curious, do you just collect them within a physical notebook, or do you have like Evernotes, or do you like use a program to collect all of these constant backstory, these ideas?
Yeah, so I use Noveler, and I used to use Scrivener, which I actually really like a little bit better than Noveler, but I got a Chromebook just because I am like the laziest tech person ever, and I wanted something that would just last a long time and be really, really simple and easy, especially because, you know, I think Word and stuff like that. So, or Google Docs or whatever. But yeah, so I use, and Scrivener doesn't work with Chromebook as well. So I use Noveler, which is very, very similar.
Okay.
And I like it. It's just, it kind of keeps everything in one place, and it sort of helps you organize it. And then I just kind of, if I'm working on something, I often call it like extras. So I'll have like the scene I'm working on, and then beneath it, I'll have the extras, which is stuff that maybe pertains to that scene, but isn't being used. And then I just dump it in there.
Gotcha. Because I feel like somebody like, I use more like, I don't have to draft as much, especially doing like sort of writing and then like delivering it orally, which sounds disgusting, but you know what I mean? Those horrible phrase.
You know what you mean.
But I think I don't have to have that much collection of material. Now that's not so much true of like the compost heap, as Neil Gaiman calls it, of like stand-up ideas and things like those are happening. But I'm always curious like how people store them and process them. Like I don't have a very tech savvy way to do it.
I need to be better. One of my bigger problems, especially when I was writing longer stuff, is I would just kind of get lost in the information. And I've really started to challenge myself to just get rid of things, but getting rid of things can mean putting it in the extras bin, where I don't really go to it unless I'm specifically looking for something.
Gotcha.
But like cutting something really down, because yeah, I think that sometimes I get hard. I'm like, oh, I don't want, maybe I'll use it, like that kind of thing. But it's like, if you're not using it now, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. So
yeah. It's interesting too, because like I feel a little torn on that, like because I still have like journals, you know, I've saved everything, and I don't necessarily go through them. I think part of the process maybe go back and look at these ideas. I remember, I think it was like the Joan Rivers documentary where they showed how she stored all of her jokes.
She had like file cabinets and stuff.
Yeah, like a Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang.
And she'd pull it out, and it would just be like, you know, A and like A25, and she'd tell the joke and like put it back in.
Yeah, and then put it back in.
Insane.
Yeah, it was the original Evernote. a library
I
card.
wonder how she must have kept an enormous amount of it in her head to even be able to go back. Because I feel like there's no point keeping that information if you can't think to yourself, I need this one, you know, like somehow it must trigger it. I don't know.
Making those connections.
It was insane. I'm starting to wonder if the difference between producing work and not producing work is really about the organization.
I have to say, it's a huge thing because even with stand-up, you know, I have like voice memo after voice memo after voice memo. So of not just holding things on paper, but holding things recorded, because it is, you know, a conversational art form. You have it recorded in that way. Mm-hmm. I'm not very good at organizing that. So although things aren't being lost, like if I do it, you know, if I just do new material, it's still not going anywhere either, you know? Yeah. So I do think organization is part of it. I just don't think like it's the discipline of writing is not my strong suit. The play is, and that's just another element of discipline that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's a huge element of discipline, and that's sort of like, it's almost office work basically at that point, you know, where you're like putting it all together. So. Yeah.
But I love though that idea. And then we'll get to the next thing, but and I mentioned this before, like a lot of authors have done this where their play of it is like they're, you know, like working through the fog of creativity, and then like they find the light, and I think they must get motivated by, they're like, oh my gosh, I found this idea. Now let's really deconstruct this idea and like open it up, and that then must become a new game for them. Like for lack of a better term, the organization of seeing through the darkness. Like I get stuck in that one. I'm so excited that I finally found an idea that I'm like, oh, take a break.
Well, you finally like see what because I've been working on a flash fiction piece, which I'll send you, by the way. It's really short, but okay. And I've been working on a lot in here, so I wrote tons. I want it to be like 500 words, and I have like 6 full pages of stuff. So it's like, you know, a couple, you know, thousands words, and I was like going through it and like pulling out and then all of a sudden I'm like, it's this versus this. Like, this is what the story is about. It's really just these two things. And I was working on it this morning where I sat outside and I printed it and I just cut out anything that didn't pertain to those two specific ideas. It was like, this is what my character's trying to do. This is the thing that's standing in her way. And that's it. That's all I needed to focus on. And it really made it just pop right out to me. And I was like, now I know how to write this. And then when you do it, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You can always go back. But
but that like razor sharp clarity. Yeah.
Nice. And I think that's more I need to be doing that more.
Well, I'm excited to read it. Yeah. Show me.
Like, hey. You're like, yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, that's not how I roll. So we do have enough time if you're into it. I am, because I do enjoy the longer prompts. To go, we want to go 15 minutes this round?
15 minutes. We're going to do it. All right, guys. This is going to be a 15-minute writing prompt. Here we go. Your character is suddenly alone. What happens next? Your character is suddenly alone. What happens next? Take it any way you'd like to take it. 15 minutes.
The clock has started.
Go.
Again, not to interrupt, but just to let everybody know, these are also in the description box if you need this writing prompt again. Did it!
Yay!
Yes! Oh dear.
Good
Oh
one.
dear.
That was long. I like it.
Yeah, I do. I know that you know, in the world of the internet, fast things are where it's at. But I love the good long, the 15-minute ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while we were writing, I noticed that you responded to Alley Cat. I just want to give Alley Cat some props here, talking about the short story and the prompt. So doing the aftermath of where she finds out where she is after waking up in an unknown place. Ooh.
I love that. So she realizes she's alone. It's so cool.
Yeah.
The idea of like waking up and just being completely alone, like in a space where you shouldn't be alone. It's just terrifying. I think the idea of just the suddenness of it, like the suddenly being alone in any kind of circumstance, is always very unnerving.
Yeah. Or as I think we've talked about in a sort of a strange amount, or a quantum leap, the best time ever.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I always feel like I have to talk about quantum leap on this thing.
You know, I think your quantum leap is like my Magnum PI. It really influenced you.
Well, but it is true. That idea of like waking up alone in an unknown place is really, lots of emotion. So Alley Cat, I hope that helped out, and I hope that you find something from there. How about you, Jen? Did you do a character suddenly alone? What did you explore?
I did another one of my Bachelorette girls. They're just so delightful to hang out with.
No, just so everybody knows, it's not Bachelorette the show. You are writing a book.
No, it's not even a book. It's probably a story.
A story.
But yeah, it's about these 5 girls who go on a vacation together, like a Bachelorette vacation, and horrible things ensue. But yeah, so this is one of my characters. He's kind of like the weird, the craziest, the hottest mess of the group. And they're all walking to the evening's activities, and she's yamming on, and then all of a sudden everybody, like, she can't find anybody, like she turned the corner wrong, like she's kind of drunk, everybody's gone. So it was interesting because it gets very creepy, and then she goes into this she spends like all this time being like, oh, if I just turn down here, I'm gonna go into the lobby, it's gonna be safe, like it'll be fine, I'll just hang out. And then she starts to go into this whole thing about like, who she, you know, how she sees her life when she gets married and how she's going to live. And it's going to be very different and it's going to be great. And it's not going to be all this jazz. And you're just like, something real bad's about to happen.
Yeah. Oh, so that tension of like not only being alone, but being like so consumed in your own thoughts.
Yeah.
That you're like, that is a place of safety. So for you as the author to be like, safety is not coming. Yeah. Oh.
Rolling herself and just kind of walking and like right there. She's like right there, like right about to be where all the people are. So
I love that kind of tension. Alley Cat did respond as well. From this prompt, she's learning there's more to the world than she knows, which is magic. Magic was supposed to be fake, but it isn't in certain parts of the world. Oh gosh, like a fantasy element to it. Yeah, right on, Alley Cat. Well, I'm glad that helped. I just love that it, you know, these kind of things can help you explore and find different things. Jen, what you were talking about, you know, we were talking off camera that I'm in Chicago, the Chicago Public Library opened, and I've been really, before the lockdown, the shelter in place, I was reading a lot of Anne Cleeves.
Oh yeah.
And I got this from it's the Raven Black is one of the books. And it's a thriller, and I just started it. So, but that is something that she does, I think, really well, is like sets you up in this like idyllic, soft sort of maybe like dangerous place, but almost quaint. And you know, horrible things are coming. I love that kind of tension, and when done well, it just sort of like in waves it comes over you, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's just more disturbing, you know, when things, I think, I have not seen it, but I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Is it Midsummer? Is that how you say Midsummer? Whatever. Like that horror movie where it all takes place in like, you know, the time of the year, obviously midsummer, where there's no darkness. So it's like extremely brightly lit film for a horror movie. And I just think it's just such a smart way to do it. So like when you put it in, that's why I got this idea. I was like, I love this idea of sort of this horror thing happening in this like really bright, jovial party place, like a resort, you know, where everyone's having this, you know, brightly pink, you know, penis party. So it's fun.
Yeah.
What about you? How did your stuff go?
You know, I like we said at the beginning, I love the 15 minutes. I feel like the longer ones really do help me like get invested and get going. I think I'm a lister, so I try to find a spot. And what I found was sort of the joy of being alone. So one of the things, and again, it was about me because I think one of the reasons I love performing is that moment before you go on stage, that like calm, surreal, quiet. It is all in shadow, and it's cool. I always have a ritual where I like have to touch the wall. It cools you, and like feeling alone but also connected to everything. I don't know. There's like this, like, I'm not like a very spiritual or like a church person. And I'm sure people feel this in church. I've never felt that there was too many rules in church for me, but that moment before you get on stage of like the potential, and that like people before you came through this and people will come after you. That moment of being alone, I love it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that I think one of the things that I found is like, why don't I love that more than writing, more than the discipline? Because discipline feels lonely, as opposed to being the writing part feels lonely, as opposed to being alone before a show. Like I feel connected, and I don't feel that connected with writing.
You're writing that sort of human, you know, like the human energy wave that you're like about to step into, but it's already there because the people are there, the audience are there. That's interesting to say that, because like when I would do performance stuff, I always felt like that was one of the worst parts for me. It was like right about to go on stage, like the anxiety is almost, I had to like mentally like shove myself out like off the cliff. But I would feel that same kind of feeling. There's like a point when like you're performing, you're doing in front of an audience, and you just feel the shift where it starts to pick up. And you just kind of start to go with it, and it's rolling, and it's like out of your hands.
It's that wave that and I think because I understand what you're saying, I don't want to totally lie. There is that moment of before, like, because I've talked about this in a lot of classes of like, I made a huge mistake, like that moment before you step on stage where you're like, what am I doing here? But that can all happen all at once, and suddenly I think I get that feeling, and I just like take a breath, and I get connected in this way that I think is neat. I guess what I'm trying to say is in this writing prompt, I would like to try not to forcibly do it, but to find that organically in writing. And I think one of the things that stops me from doing it, where I feel alone, is because I have always been writing from my point of view. It's me, 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 me. So what I like to challenge myself, and I would like you to be involved, and this is what I found in the writing. For this week, my challenge, and if anybody wants to give themselves a challenge, fine. For these writing prompts, I don't want to write as me for a week. Okay. I want to see if writing as another person or being excited about another character actually makes me feel that connection as opposed to feeling that loneliness. So I was thinking that maybe for Tuesday, for the next couple ones we meet, that I would write as a character.
Yeah.
But instead of my own favorite literary character, I thought maybe you could give me one. So a character, and I wouldn't spend a lot of time researching, like that's not what this is about. I just want to like kind of take myself out of myself. So when the writing and the discipline element isn't so, I don't feel so lonely or isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want one that's kind of like a mainstream one?
Yeah, whatever you want to give me. And I don't mean to put you on a spot. You can email me and we can tell everybody. Yeah. And that's what I would like to do. So if anyone else wants to give yourself a challenge, if you're feeling any sort of way, find a writing buddy, do that. Yeah. Oh, and
I love that.
Yeah. Alley Cat just mentioned, we talk about performing. I love that. Alley Cat, you just like, we're buds today. And I love it.
I know.
It's amazing to see that you're sharing that with people. You might get nervous, but you feel happy, especially if you know you did your best. Yeah. Yeah. There is an element, and I know that writing and performing are not the same. But I think it's that feeling that I'm trying to find in my writing. So anyway, that's what I found.
You're trying to feel that energy, like that sort of rolling energy, which is different because you don't have other people to help give you that energy. So you sort of have to give it to, you have to find a way to get it to yourself. I do feel that when the writing is going well, I feel that it's like it starts to pick up and roll, and you're like, okay, this is going somewhere on its own.
Yeah,
which is really exciting.
Oh my gosh, we've got P. Christine here. Thanks so much for hanging out in the 15-minute. Oh, it's been so long. I was trying to think of the last time we did the Kates together. But anywho, I think the reason I wanted to give you that prompt, and I know that we're wrapping up here, is because I was watching a video and Judy Blume was in it. And Judy Blume has affected me in ways that I have not even really realized. Like how I know that Judy Blume is an author and she does a lot of, I have not chosen her path, but she has influenced me in a huge, huge way. Bye, Allie. And I think one of the things she talked about is like her getting this energy, her feeling connected to her characters, and it just spiraling. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's a connection that I wish that I could have. So that's what I'm gonna do, Jen. You think of a literary character, and I'm gonna use that in my daily prompts and in my next 2 Tuesdays to like write.
Okay.
Do you have any goals or any parting wisdoms? I know we were doing that before.
Parting wisdoms. Okay, so my goal for the week is I am working on a flash fiction piece, and my plans is to be done with it by the end of the week, by Tuesday for sure.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I'm gonna send it off to a couple people to look over. It's a short piece, but I feel like it's I'm almost there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Parting wisdoms. If you're going to buy an inflatable pool, like really do the research on the size of it, because I thought that I was buying something way bigger than what I was buying, because of course I didn't like take a tape measure out. They give you the measurements. I didn't like actually use the tape measure to find the measurements. And then I think I paid way too much money for this pool. So that's my parting wisdom. Get the tape measure out, see exactly what you're getting. And because my neighbor had one a couple years ago, and I'm like, I'm getting that. And it was not that.
It was not that.
So there
ordering
you go.
Online, measure when you order online.
Measure it. And now my kid, everyone's like, what is this? It's like a bird bath. I'm like, you're fine.
Just splash around.
I'm like, it's fine. You're fine. Just don't be so tall.
Good advice. Don't be so tall.
Yeah.
Excellent. So next week, Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be back.
New prompts, new theme.
Yeah. I love it. All right. Well, let's skedaddle. Anybody else? Oh, I was just saying bye. Oh, Alley Cat, thanks so much for chatting with us. PC, yeah, PC has gone. Bye. And Alley Cat, bye to you, and see you next Tuesday.
Bye.